Hey beauties, welcome to the Clean Beauty Podcast. Did you know that unlike most everything else in America, cosmetics are not regulated? This means that corporations can use thousands of potentially harmful ingredients that I personally know can cause health problems. I'm your host, Cassandra McClure. I've been in the beauty business for over 10 years as a celebrity makeup artist that advocates for safer and more sustainable cosmetics. Join me each week for important news, exclusive interviews, and more on the Clean Beauty Revolution.
This episode is proudly sponsored by lashbinder.com, a patent-pending tool that I developed to be the quickest, easiest, and safest way to apply lashes on yourself and clients. If you've ever tried applying lashes, you either use your fingers, which is pretty hard to master, a pair of tweezers, which can be super scary, or you were lucky enough to have a friend like me help you. Those days are long gone with Lashbinder, an applicator that'll have you looking fabulous in under a minute. Are you ready to say goodbye to expensive, damaging, and time-consuming lash extensions or hours spent in the mirror applying makeup? Don't you wish you could apply lashes easy and just go? Let your skin glow and your confidence skyrocket with the perfect pair of lashes applied with Lashbinder. Lashbinder is truly the lash tool you'll ever need. Be the first to get your hands on one today, exclusively at lashbinder.com. Be sure to find us on Instagram at lashbinder, LASHBINDER. Links in the show notes. Happy lashing! Hello, beauties. This episode is specifically for women. So if you are a man and you have a wife, a daughter, or even a mother in your life, then this might help educate you on what women go through. But this episode is all about sanitary products, feminine products that we use on our period. And if you are a woman that uses a brand that contains ingredients like chlorine, fragrance, or toxic preservatives like formaldehyde releasers and parabens, these are base materials in cotton. So they're non-organic, growing crops that are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides that remain in products like Always, Carefree, CVS Health, Kotex, Kroger, OB, Playtex, Stay Free, Tampax, Walgreens, Signature Care, and Cardinal Health. So if you are using any of those, you need to listen to this episode. And even if you are using Vita, Charlie Banana, Glad Rags, Maxim, 7th Generation, and Tampax Pure and Clean, they're still not organic. And they're manufactured without chlorine and perfumes, but there's still things that are not so good. And so there are so many clean options out there. And I wanted to talk about this because it's been on my mind for a really long time. It's been brought up in a lot of personal meetings with friends and family. And I thought it was something that I would bring on another company or another expert. But I have been using alternative methods for over a year. And so I thought it was time to share my experience, share what I've learned, and share kind of what happened to me. So I really felt very irritated, red, inflamed, and itchy around the time of my period every month. And I was using tampons and pads very rarely. So primarily tampons, and I was using Kotex, Playtex, whatever, from CVS or Walgreens or Safeway. And I had no idea that there was fragrance in them. I had no idea that I was reacting to the chemicals. I just had no idea that there were cancer-causing or cancer-ridden ingredients in them. I had no idea they were toxic. Of course, if I knew, I would have never used them. And also, they're very expensive. They're not cheap to buy every single month. And so I thought that was the only way. I thought that was the only option. But I found out that there were options for me. And so I decided to start using something else. I'm going to get into that a little later, but I just want to make sure that everyone listening understands that there are known toxic ingredients not only in your tampons and pads, but in the washes and wipes. And in this very sensitive area down there, you can become ill from not only like things like TSS, toxic shock syndrome, you can also get uh cancer easier. You can become have ovarian cancer. Reproductive harm and hormone disruption is like a top problem and issue, and you can have an allergic reaction caused by the adhesive chemicals and synthetic fragrances used. So they're really concerning because that direct contact with the skin absorbs the substances much faster than other areas of the body. And over 3,000 ingredients that are in that umbrella term fragrance can be absorbed quite easily. And so the toxins have to be sought out. And that's why I named the brands that I did, because they were all put into clinical lab studies. And there's a Chem Fatale report that was done, and basically on the feminine care industry. And 85% of cotton hygiene products tested by the University of La Plata in Argentina were contaminated and linked to cancer by the World Health Organization. And then 62% of the same samples were tested positive for AMPA, which is a metabolite. It's there something, I don't know, it's not good. And I just have to say that the parabens and the formaldehyde and all of that is they are hazardous. So, with something that we're dealing with every single month, that's too often to be, putting these things in and on our bodies. And there are a couple things that you can do. And this is what I've been doing is I'm using a cup, but I want to talk about the cup real quick because I know that there are a lot of questions about using them in public and so many other things, and like which one you should get. But there's Athena, I've tried, Blossom, Cora, Diva, I've tried, Eco, Hesta, Goddess, Lena, Lunette, I've tried, Moon, Pink Daisy, Pixie Cup, Riel, Rose Cup. There's the Honest Co. There's so many different cups you could try, and these are the cleanest that you can get. And they're basically a silicone cup that you insert and take out like once a day, maybe twice a day at most. But I find that it's very easy to do in the shower. So I like take showers in the morning and at night. So for me, I do everything in there. And I've heard friends say, oh, well, what about like, if you're at school or you're at work, you shouldn't really be changing them there. You don't need to, because the cup lasts for at least 12 hours, depending on, how big of a cup you need. That's a different story because, if you are a young teenager and you've never had anything inserted, then you might need a smaller cup. And if you are on the heavier side and you've had 3 children, you might need a larger cup to, make up in that area. So it really depends on you, your body size, and how much you bleed. But for me, I don't need anything extra like really big. I have just a normal size and I can go an entire day without taking it out. It actually isn't an absorbent thing that would be hard to pull out, right? So it can take way more than a normal tampon, probably 4 times the size, but you don't feel anything. And that's another question I get asked a lot is if you feel something and you really don't, it's actually way softer and way more comfortable than a string, which is why, the newer tampons have more of like a really nice glidey feel with a plastic pearl type applicator. And this is actually much, much nicer and you're saving a ton of money. So you buy one cup anywhere from $15 to $25 and you get a cute little bag that it comes with. It comes with a cute little feminine care wash that you can spray. It's like a foam or a little gel. And you want to make sure that the brands that I mentioned that you get it from one of those and you're not getting something like that contains BPA or that's made overseas that's not made, in a quality facility that is FDA approved and that's, also producing a nice bag that comes with it with a clean cleanser to clean the actual cup because, like I said, it is going in that soft and in that sensitive area. So you do want to make sure that the entire thing is clean and good and all of that. So most of these are on Amazon, and that's the great thing. You don't even have to go into the store, and one cup should last you a very long time. A lot of these sets will come with 2 cups. It's about the size of a rose. And I love that the rose cup because in the sense that it does look like a rose. It has a stem and it has a round kind of top that you fold, and you fold it differently depending on the opening of your vaginal canal. And so that's something I had to learn. And there are so many resources online. But you want to look for 100% medical grade silicone, BPA free, and something even with a return policy or something like that would be great. I have a nice silk bag that I take mine in, and you never know that it's in there. It just looks like a cute little bag, so you can travel with it. And really, I've seen ones recently that are angled a little bit differently, that have more of a protective lip around them, some that have a ring hole at the bottom so you can kind of pull it out easier because sometimes it's hard to grip a small little tip. And you can also cut the tip if you need to cut it. Just be careful because I cut mine and it actually was a little bit pokey because it was a sharp edge, and they're all made with very rounded edges and like very nice kind of smooth, soft edges. And so if you cut it, that might be an issue. And there are now wipes that you can get like instead of foams and cleaners, because let's say you did have an emergency and you ran into an airport bathroom. I have done this and I had to pull it out. I had to insert it and I had nowhere to wash my hands. I would have to leave the stall, go to a sink, go back in to put it back in, right? So I actually just used my little wipe. It almost was like a hand individually wrapped little pack with a wipe so I could wipe my hand, wipe the outside of the container off, and then, reinsert and then go wash my hands after that. But they're making all sorts of different innovative ones that are really interesting and different shapes, different sizes to fit different areas. And I really think this is the next big thing. This is the way of the future. It's super sustainable. You're now not wasting all this paper, plastic, boxes. You can now pay, under $20 and never have to pay for your period again. You could save hundreds of dollars a year doing this. It has, I can't imagine anything without it. It's so easy to have one in your purse and one in your house just in case, like you're out on the go and you start unexpectedly. You never have to ask someone for a tampon again. It's life changing. And if someone asks for you for one, you can educate them and send them to this podcast to listen if you don't want to talk about it. But it's something that we shouldn't be ashamed of. It's something that we should be openly talking to people that we love about, because it's a way to save lives, avoid cancer, and create a better world for our future children to live in, reducing toxic pollution and waste. And I just love this idea. It is something you need to get used to. It is a little different, but it's totally worth it. And it works 100%. And at first, I was actually inserting it wrong and I didn't know because it was leaking a little bit, but I had to watch a couple YouTubes and figure out how it worked and how to sit when I was actually inserting it. And I will say that I did buy a couple of period panties. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you need to buy them because you're trying to figure out how to use it. I bought them and I really loved them. My favorite part about having a period panty is that it has an insert in the front that's almost like a little kangaroo pouch, and you can put an ice pack in there or a hot pack in there. And while you are on your way to a gym or in the car or whatever, even working and you're wearing a dress, you can wear that and put a little rail. It's RAEL. It's like real. And it's like little hot patches you can put in case you're having like really bad cramps. It's a natural way to kind of soothe those pains. And the period panty doesn't feel like a pad. I feel like pad always made me feel like I was wearing a diaper. It was really uncomfortable. I didn't feel sexy. But when you wear the period panties, you don't feel anything extra. It just has it's just like wearing normal underwear, but they're full, and you have like an insert that just protects in case, there is some sort of leak, but you can see it. It doesn't go through no matter how much you might leak. And it really does help in case, again, if you're on a long trip, a long drive, or you're on a long hike or something where you don't have access to water or a bathroom or to wash your hands. But I always have my sustainable water bottle with me, so I'm able to rinse my hand if I need to for some reason, or if I need to readjust my cup. But I don't need to do that anymore. I'm after like 9 to 12 months. I've definitely it's like it comes super naturally to me. I just reach for it and it works really well. And like I said, my biggest tip, one that I haven't really seen out there, is to do it in the shower so that you don't feel like you're getting anything messy. It doesn't feel gross. And one of my friends was like, "Oh, but so you touch your own blood?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, even with my tampon, sometimes I would touch my blood. I mean, like, it's your body. I mean, if you're freaking squirming about that, you should think again about having kids, because you're going to have poop all over you." So for me, I embrace myself and my womanhood, and I think it's a blessing. So I don't look at it as a negative thing. I try to, but this has just made me feel so much more comfortable. I'm no longer irritated. I don't have as painful of periods because I feel like the tampons were just so toxic for my body that it knew it and it didn't like them. And so I'm just so glad I don't have to deal with all the uncomfortable things that was associated with my period before. And so I hope you got a lot out of this. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it on social or with someone you love. I definitely wanted to do a review today and share with you what one of the gals reviewed on the podcast. And this is from Mira Wed. Amazing content, 5 stars. Cassandra is a true pioneer in the industry and has truly elevated the clean beauty game. This is a very beautifully done podcast that focuses on very important issues, sustainable clean beauty. Cassandra is very educational and utterly gorgeous. Her tips and information can literally save your life. Highly recommended. Thank you, Miranda. I know that's you. I praise you for listening. I'm so happy that you are getting a lot out of the podcast, and I love that you think I'm saving lives. I'm really trying to change the world one podcast at a time. Hashtag ban 1500. If you didn't know, we are now doing monthly giveaways, and I'm including lots of clean beauty goodies that I'm sending out to one lucky winner. All you have to do is go onto iTunes or any podcast platform, leave a review that is informative to someone who might not have listened before, and post it on your feed on Instagram, not on your story, and make sure you tag Clean Beauty Podcast, Cassandra McClure, that's me, and hashtag ban BAN 1500. And that's my campaign. That's what I'm working on, is really educating, but trying to get these harmful ingredients banned in the US. I think we should have stricter standards. If the European Union is banning, 1,400, I don't know why we're still only over here at less than 20. I think that that's wrong. I think that that's, going to impact so many women. There's hundreds, thousands of women who are getting breast cancer every single day, ovarian cancer, who are dying because of products that we're using, like tampons, and these feminine products are a great example. So I hope we can change and be the change and stand up for what we believe in. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.
All right, so that's it for this week's episode on the Clean Beauty Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to head over to iTunes to review, rate, and subscribe to the channel. Until next week, stay beautiful.